Okay, so I hope I'm on camera. What I'm doing is when I take the power off and I put the power off in the bedroom, I can't put a light on. So I'm coming on camera. I took a shower, and I washed my face, but I didn't even look in the mirror to see what kind of crust and stuff is in my eyes on the corner of my mouth. I'm not even interested in that. There is a television on in the living room on low, so hopefully we can get a video without any of their comments. What I wanted to tell you about that is that it seems like they wanted to create mind control or AI technology. So instead of harassing me with regular people, which was what they were doing, they could just have like a computer generated harassment. And this way they can, everywhere I go, which is illegal. Like everywhere I go to the bank, I go to the hospital, even in the ER, I hear them. So that's illegal. But by doing it publicly, everyone knows they're doing it and it's illegal. There is no U.S. government program like that. So they want me to explain to them the difference between a pyramid scheme and a Ponzi scheme. The gang stalking part, like I said, is a pyramid scheme because when you're a gang member and you bring in other gang members, you benefit. But ultimately, at the end, you stop benefiting. That's a pyramid scheme. A Ponzi scheme is when you have people at the top doing something and they bring in other people and they benefit. And after a while, they can no longer keep the scheme going and the whole thing fails. So the Ponzi scheme is you have someone at the top benefiting and they're the ones that usually bring in more people. That's why I said this mind control, it's not really mind control, but this AI technology, PSYOP thing is a Ponzi scheme. So what I'm telling you folks is this. When they found a way to try to publicly humiliate me, investigate things, get things wrong, and say it publicly and start all of this trouble for me, it started to collapse when the stories were lies. So when I say they lied and said, it starts to collapse. So once it starts to collapse, they have to come up with a new scheme. And it's as though that's why I say follow the money. It's as though every scheme, once it can't last. So for example, and I'm going to try to use an example for each. If I say, for example, if I started calling everybody and saying, I want you to say blah, 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 blah. If I did that publicly, after a while, all the people that I call will get stalked and harassed by these people. That's what they were doing. So it starts with them stalking and harassing me, then they stalk and harass them. So they get their gang members and criminals to harass those people. After a while, it collapses because once you start stalking and harassing a whole lot of people are going to start calling the authorities and saying, I'm being stalked and harassed. So that collapses. Now, the part that they thought would win for them was the AI technology, which they say mind control, because you have fewer people who know. And I think that's the easiest way for me to explain it. When you have a lot of people who know things, a lot of people talk and a lot of people will tell what's going on. But if only a few at the top know exactly how it's done, which is part of what I'm saying when I say to you, they said, oh, you're going to tell people how it's done. I don't know how it's done. I'm getting information. I'm researching. But when you have the people at the top who knows how it's done, they start bringing in more people and more people and more people until ultimately you have all these people who are being victimized. Do you understand what I'm saying? The difference? One is that you have people who go along and do it. The other is where you have victims, where I'm a victim. I'm a victim of both. I didn't bring in people and have everyone like getting stalked by these people. If people were stalked by these people because of their association with me, it wasn't because I brought them in. I wasn't aware of all of this. As it's, when I'm talking to you folks as it's going along, I wasn't sure. So I would tell people something bad is happening. That's different from me, and I'm going to give you the difference. That's different from the people who actively participated in this, said lies, said stories that I told them and made it out to be something else. That's an active participant. A regular person like me says to people, something bad is happening. I don't know. That's what I'm doing publicly. A Ponzi scheme is different. What they did was they figured, and I realize now, and also they admit it, they were taking the stories, putting it into a computer, and then trying to arrange for me to talk to people. And by arranging for me to talk to people, they would know how I would answer questions. So what the computer can do from that is generate sort of how I answer things, how I respond. So I guess the more they do that, then the computer has more and more and more examples. So what they said, so that to me is this AI mind control type of Ponzi scheme, where there are people at the top who have the equipment, who have the computer, who can then suck in more and more victims. How do they do that? Well, identity theft. They can call people and pretend to be me. They can use me to help them generate scripts for other people, to help them set up some sort of responses to other people's questions. That's what I'm saying. There's a difference in how this works, but it's all about money. It's all about money. So as I am trying to tell you folks these things, and they want me to explain things on camera so they can put this into a computer generated system, but also they think that that will help them prevent me from testifying or being able to sue them. No, that doesn't. And that's what I'm trying to explain. It seems like, I think my opinion is they're telling the people at the bottom these things because sometimes the people at the bottom just don't know. They don't know. So they would say, well, you can follow her because if everybody's following her, if we can make it appear to be everyone following her, then they can't prove it. Yes, they can. And I've been telling, they were confused because I said in a previous video that you can't really accuse someone of being the gang stalker, but you can film what you see. And I saw a man sit next to me out of everywhere he could sit, completely staring at me, looking into the camera, kind of hamming it up for the camera, using that app for the gang stalking and the map. And yes, that's a gang stalker. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's very difficult for regular people who aren't able to prove all of this to prove it unless you record them. Once I got enough proof, I don't have to keep recording them, because the next step of the next phase of their process is to discredit me. I now have to go on to the discrediting part, which is why I started telling my story and telling it publicly, so that whatever AI technology they try to create based on my personality, anyone in the world can create it. I have so many YouTube videos that and I think it's a foreign operation, the US government will be able to just take my YouTube videos, put it in some sort of computer, and they can clone me and compare their AI to the foreign AI. Our AI will be better. Our AI will beat them. Thank you for watching.